Hello everyone and welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston subdivision in HO Scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout and your host for episode 9 of season 2025. This episode focuses on ballast on the tracks at Echo Canyon, as well as additional rocks and ground cover at the Echo Canyon rock formations. Was hoping to get the road done as well, but did not get quite that far. Hopefully get that done this week. This is how things looked in last week's update. Definitely got the rocks looking pretty good and the ground cover in. There's a wholesome cement and double slide. This is the focus of the last few weeks. And the focus was to get this road in, which I didn't get to, but then also to get ballast down on these tracks. It's about, I would say about 25 feet of track through here, double track main line. And last week, as you saw, I did get the tracks painted and ready to go. And now I'm going to be looking at applying some ballast. One of the very first things that I want to do is get the track nails out of the ties. It kind of gets in the way as you apply the ballast, and then also, of course, doesn't look that great on the finished product. So I pulled out all the nails and so that I can still have the track held down on each side or right near each track nail. I put a drop of super glue, so you can see the little areas there where there's a drop of super glue that has dried and is holding the track in place. So I also put in some styrene in a couple places to level out the track. There was a couple areas where there was a dip, so I put some styrene in there to alleviate that and got everything glued down. I also made sure the straight track was as straight as possible and the curved track curved in a nice continuous generous curve. Also plan to put in a crossing here. Picked this up at Lombard Hobbies. It was less than $8. Pretty cheap if it's made by Walthers. A little bit more on that. And of course picked up also at Lombard Hobbies some fine ballast. That's what I've been using throughout. And then I have been using also this ballast spreader. Also use a spoon to make some touch-ups, and then a 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch brush there to brush the ballast around. This I forget who makes this. I think a couple companies make it, but it just is a ballast spreader. It's got a little chute there that allows you to carefully. This is why I needed the track nails off. Definitely gets in the way. Here you can kind of see it in operation. Just fill it up with ballast using Woodland Scenics fine gray ballast. They say it's for N scale, but it actually measures out perfectly for HO scale. And this ballast spreader works perfectly with the road bed that I'm using. This road bed is 3/8 inch thick compared to cork road bed, which is like a 1/4 inch or even less than a 1/4 inch thick. So it gives it a higher profile. You can see the shoulders are much more defined, and this ballast spreader, the ballast just spreads perfectly along the sides. Does not work near as well for if you're using cork road bed, but it, each full bin does about 15 inches or more. So it lays it down pretty good. Now, of course, you still have quite a bit of ballast on top of the ties. That's what the brush is for. So I carefully just go back and forth and remove the right amount of ballast. Now, I actually removed a little bit more than what I'm showing in this video just for time's sake. but I usually remove so that the ballast is to the top of the ties but not on the ties. So it's kind of an art to get just the right amount there so that you get the ballast up to the top of the ties but not over. Then I use my thumb to brush the excess from the ends of the ties, and it just basically goes down then onto the shoulders. Now I'm actually put a little bit more work into it than what is shown in this video, but this is pretty much it. You notice I do a little bit more work. You can see there's still some ballast on top of the ties, so I might brush it a little bit more, try and get a little bit more off. I also use my fingernail to remove any ballast that's on the sides of the rails. And it doesn't take very long, especially in this section, because there's no turnouts, which simplifies things dramatically. So it did not take me that long. And this took one full canister of ballast. Now, if you're doing a smaller layout, you might consider using actual crushed rock. Arizona Rock and Mineral and some other places make ballast for HO scale that's actually crushed rock. Woodland Scenics is crushed walnuts, I guess. So it's lighter. And so when you put the glue down, the diluted white glue down, you'll have a little bit more movement with the Woodland Scenics than what you might have with actual rock. The only thing is that the rock is like twice, if not more than twice, as expensive as the Woodland Scenics. This was only $12 for 25 feet of double track mainline. And I have a huge layout to do, almost done. But it all went down pretty well. The next step is to get some glue onto it so it stays fixated onto the track. And use what is called wet water, which basically means regular tap water with a drop or two of Dawn detergent to break the surface tension. You want the water to go into the ballast without disturbing the ballast at all. So I'm going as high as my arms will reach. So you want the mist to gently rain down onto the ballast so that it doesn't disturb the ballast. If you're too close, the force of the spray will move the ballast. And you notice I got some on the fascia there, but it dried with no problem. So you from as high as possible, just let it lightly mist down onto a gentle rain. Now if you notice as I'm coming back now, I'm getting closer and closer, because as it gets wet, then you can get closer and really start pushing the water onto the track. And because it has that initial mist of water on it, it won't move around as you apply more and water, because you really need to get it drenched good. You need to get every bit of ballast wet, not just the surface wet, but under the surface as well. And even make sure you spray from the back. I don't know why I'm making such a mean face there. But anyway, just get it, good and drenched so that the glue then can go into it easily. Now this is a white glue diluted with the water. And I used to just go ahead and use droppers. Just use this bottle that I would just put drops into it. I'd use a 1-to-1. But when I did the drops, it just kind of moved the ballast around too much. This misting the spray on there does not disturb the ballast near as much as if I use a dropper. So I spray this on. This is to get it to go through the sprayer. It's a 3 parts water to 1 part glue, which actually, once it's dry, is not enough to really hold it. So I go ahead and do this at first, and then once I get that done, this is now the next day, and I just go back and after it dries, I check for any mistakes, like I'm missing a tie here. So one thing I did was remove some ballast there so I could put in the tie, something I should have caught before I started, but I definitely wanted to get it taken care of. Now I have the tie in there. And then I replaced some of the ballast. So again, this is 2 days after. You should usually wait till at least the next day so that it has a chance to dry. And then go back, and you can notice I put the lighter color ballast is the dry ballast that I put in there. And there's some other areas too, wherever you see the lighter color ballast, that's some touch up that I've done. Because I'm going to go back now and I'm going to use 1-to-1 glue. So this is, again, the next day after the initial spray of glue has dried. I'll spray it again with wet water, but I don't try to get it soaking wet this time as much. I want it to hold on to its stiffness a little bit, and then I just pour the 1-to-1 glue and water between the rails. I don't put any on the shoulders because I don't want to disrupt the shoulders. But I really load up between the rails, and then if you just let it set, the glue then will seep into the shoulders. So now this second step here gets the 1-to-1 glue and water into the ballast, and that's the ratio that will, when it dries, will dry rock solid, and you don't have to worry about it cracking or being disturbed if you accidentally hit it when you're cleaning track or something. It's pretty solid. This is what it looks like now after that was all taken care of. That ballast really looks good, I think, on this Hobby Innovations ballast. It's too bad that they're not making it anymore. I think the website is still active. If you do a Google search for Hobby Innovations, maybe if enough people bug them about it, they'll start producing it again. If you're doing, Class 1 modern main lines, this definitely does a great job of simulating that type of ballast and that type of mainline and roadbed profile. Here again is the wood crossing, but it's actually just plastic. Was really simple to put down. A pretty nice product from Walthers, and again, it was only less than $8. Now, one thing I want to do is take care of this. Put some more ground cover on the rocks below the rock formation. The idea here is that you have the side of the rock there, which was formed by the Echo Creek carving through there. And over time, the rocks from those rock faces fall down and then land at the base of the rock. So I wanted that the rocks at the base of the formation there is not an actual rock formation. It's just the rocks that have fallen from the face of the canyon and then fallen down, and then it's all broken up, and so vegetation starts to grow up. Put some trees in here also, and then I also put in a lot of loose rocks also. So when you have a rock face, usually over time, the rocks will fall off of the face of the rock from the continuous erosion and fall down. Now I'm going to put some trees there to hide that road going into the backdrop. That's one thing I'm going to do yet this week. Coming up is put a road in. But I think this looks pretty good. Kind of follows the idea. Now, one thing about rock colors, by the way, some people were mentioning that They thought the rock should be redder. This is the actual location here. And yeah, you're right. The rock is red here, but this was taken at dawn. This is when I was there during the day. So in the sunlight, it's not near as red. It's more of a yellowish color. So this is what, when I was there, this is what sticks in my mind as the colors of rock through Echo Canyon. So that's kind of what I'm going for in this area here. I think it's a pretty good match. It's not right on exact, but I think it's a pretty good representation of how the rocks look at Echo Canyon, especially right here at Echo. There's going to be a little restaurant there and a railroad crossing here. I was going to put in a actual crossing gates. I'm not sure anymore if I'm going to be doing that, but we'll see. Would be cool to have a third crossing gate. But this week, my main focus is going to be getting the road in. And then I'll be able to move on, I think, to the next. Here's that where the road goes into the backdrop. So there'll be some trees there in front of that, so you don't see the road ending in the backdrop. This is a local train going through. You can hear I have the switcher at West Vaco was idling. You can hear that too. I should have shut that down. I think having that ground cover really is a big improvement on the base of the rock face there. Did not have a room to do that here since the rock face comes right up to the track. I may put some on the other side of the track, some loose rocks. And this will give you a kind of idea of what it's like to come down the Wasatch grade. This is a coal train coming down grade, going on the original main line, which has a grade as high as 1.7. Now, it's not 1.7 here, 1.7%, but as we go through these couple of tunnels and go over Kerrville, then we'll get our dynamic brakes on and come down the 1.7% grade. So you can hear it's already idling now as it's switching to the dynamic brakes. You can hear it winding down. And then as it comes across Kerrville, you can hear the dynamic brakes winding up. So one thing I'm enjoying about HO Scale is the sound aspect of it, and all the different functions and lights and so forth that you can do. I was never able to get it going in NSCAL. I'm sure some people are now. This is the 1.7% grade. This is on the original main line. The other main line is a 1.14, as you can see it in the background there. That's used for, the lower grade is used for uphill, going up to the Wasatch summit. And then the older 1.7% grade is used for westbound downgrade trains. That's the Castle Rock area there. That is a little bit more reddish rock. And then we come to the Emery control point. This is the last bit of scenery that I have to do. 16 feet of scenery left. I think there's going to be one more rock face I'm going to put in there. So this is the last section. You notice you still have the road here along with it. And then we come now to the Echo Canyon part on the newly applied ballast. That's a SD70 ACE Heritage unit, CNW. Saw that going through a shell quite a few times back when we lived there in about 10 years ago or more. And then there's a couple of Gevos. The two lead units are Athearn. The third unit is a Scale Trains. These are Rapido auto flood hoppers. And then some Intermountain. Not sure what they're Bethgon. A type of Bethgon coal porter. Forgot the name of them that have that goofy. And then we have some more Rapido here. And then the DPU on this coal train is a Tier 4 Gevo by Scale Trains. All right, one more train. This is another local. Locals are usually pulled by SD70s or something similar to that. This is a couple of SD70M locomotives by Athearn. That road's really going to be the nice finishing touch for this area. The crossing there at Echo does not have crossing gates, but I kind of want to put them in anyway. The road that crosses there just basically goes to somebody's house. There's a transloader there also. Thought about putting that a track in for the transloader, but opted against it. Would have been something that I would have squeezed in there just because I wanted more track. Not really fit with the scenery, I don't think. Well, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Check out my website for things I'm selling. I've got a lot of containers and an SD90 for sale. Check that out on my website. The URL is in the description. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.